Hi friends, and welcome back to MV Stories. Today we'll look at a few Reddit stories, and if you like them, you can like, comment, and turn on notifications so you don't miss new videos. Today's story comes from the the A-hole subreddit. It was posted by Aardvark83 and was titled, "My best friend of nearly 9 years ended the friendship after my wedding." In 2023, I got engaged to the love of my life after nearly 6 years of dating. We waited a couple years for the wedding just because money was tight, but my parents offered their large backyard. At this time, my husband and I were playing around with ideas on what the wedding could look like. My best friend, who we will call Amy, who I reconnected with in college and have been basically by my side ever since we were both 18, did something amazing and offered to help us plan. My friend and I were fairly different, but I felt meshed together well. She was very much one to go step by step, and I plan in groups and am more spontaneous. I felt like during the planning process, there were times Amy and I's ideas clashed. A couple examples. When it came to my makeup, I just planned to do it with the makeup I already owned. I didn't have a full complete set, but I was willing to make do because I didn't have the money to spend on new makeup. Amy, seeing my makeup, proceeded to drive me to the makeup store and use her own money to buy me new makeup. When I tried to tell her she didn't need to, she insisted it was okay. My wedding theme was tea party themed, and we wanted a variety of teacups and water glasses. We slowly gathered the cups, teacups, and teapots for the wedding. Amy was certain that the glass cups were a bad idea, and we should ditch it. I told her that it was a decoration I really wanted as a piece of the wedding, which she said wasn't a great idea, but she couldn't force it, and it was done. I want to add her family was of immense help as well. Sound system, food, etc. was provided by them. Decoration and setup/takedown was done by them and part of my family as well, but mostly them. I could not show my gratitude enough, and my husband and I swore that we would absolutely find a way to thank them after the wedding. At every turn that I said, "I don't know if we'll include this, can't really afford it," she returned with a "No, I know you and known you'd want this." We were incredibly grateful and insisted that we'd find a way to return the favor or show our gratitude. We were planning either a large fancy dinner or treating my friend to a spa day, something. Wedding went great, loved it all, and we all rode home in Amy's car. Amy was silent, and when I had asked if she was all right, she just said she was super tired from everything, which I understood. She dropped me off at my home, and that was that. We didn't talk for 2 months after that. I wasn't too worried at first because there had been times where, when exhausted, she'd take time for herself and not talk much. But this was way too long. I eventually sent her a message letting her know that I love her and that if there was an issue, I'd want to talk about it because I didn't want her sitting with the issue alone. She proceeded to text me, telling me that she no longer wanted to be my friend. She said that she did have issues with our friendship and that she had been hurt many times, but she didn't want to air her grievances, her words, because she wasn't wanting to discuss it further. I felt left with no idea what happened between us and still feel that way. Reddit, I've racked my brain in every possible way to think of things I had done that hurt her feelings so much that she'd end this friendship this way. And all I'm going back to is the wedding. Looking back, I'm thinking maybe she was overwhelmed or the way my husband and I were going with planning stuff, I wasn't working for her and hurting her. But anytime I had told her that my husband and I had something handled or that we were okay with things working one way and not the other, she insisted it had to be done or else things would be greatly confusing. I'm worried that I'm an ass and that I should have cut her from helping plan earlier, at least recognize that our planning ideas wasn't going to be good for her and that it'd be okay if she was just a bridesmaid instead of all else she did. I even told her if my wedding was just everyone at picnic blankets and eating deli sandwiches, we'd be happy because it'd still be the day my husband and I got married. So I didn't know. Was I a huge a-hole? Edit. Okay, 4 hours in, and majority is that I am the a-hole overall, and I'll take that responsibility. I'll just say what I'm gathering at this point. Main reason I posted this was because I never want to make a fuck up this major again in a friendship, and it seriously has been weighing hard on me that I hurt someone so important to me without me to the point they didn't want to see me again. So thank you for pointing out my flaws. Essentially, Her family did a lot and deserved more from me, even if there was denial of that from Amy. Her and my differences are separate than her family members, and even if I thank them with words, I should have had something ready for them so I could give it to them then and there and not to send later. That was irresponsible on my end and doesn't show the appreciation we had. I should have given something in return to Amy personally as well, probably before the wedding itself, too. I should have shown that appreciation because it sounds like from what you guys have said, she left the wedding and probably just called the friendship then and there. I should have done much more for her before the wedding, so she felt that appreciation through and through instead of letting it get to that point after and her feeling disappointed. I did bring up religion in one response, so it feels appropriate to say here. They're all LDS/Mormon, and there was expressed concern in the comments that perhaps someone had issues with them being so and made them feel unwelcome. While I can't guarantee it didn't happen because I had guests who were friends that are not religious/LDS, I will say I didn't witness any of it / I can be certain my family didn't, as my in-laws are also Mormon. And there's a mutual respect even if my family isn't LDS. I should have been more vigilant though, as they, again, did a lot for us, and I should have made sure they felt as special as they were for doing all of it. I need to be more responsible and notice when a friend is giving too much. I worried about it, but Amy always said she was fine, and I just accepted it at face value. I should be more aware of how my friends really are feeling. I'll be more direct and immediate in my appreciation towards people I love in the future instead of an after. To explain the 2 months thing, I just want to clarify I attempted multiple times to reach out to Amy with no response. I backed off about a month-ish in because I didn't want to seem pushy. But that doesn't excuse that, like said above, I should have done something even before the wedding itself. Relevant comments. Commenter 1 says, in what way did you recognize her and her family's contributions to the wedding preparation and music, food, both expenses and effort? Did you thank them publicly during the reception for what sounds like a massive amount of help? Did you send them effusive thank you cards for the help and costs they covered? At what point did you gift her a spa day? The grievances she does not want to air are probably that you took great advantage of her and her family's generosity and did not properly acknowledge or appreciate the effort they put in. Your total cluelessness suggests that something happened at the wedding, gifts to bridesmaids and not her, failure to acknowledge her family, something that made her feel unappreciated compared to others, or that you were doing a splashy honeymoon when she covered so many costs, or you treated her like a worker instead of friend at the ceremony, or you didn't invite her to bridal party activities. Clearly something occurred during the wedding/reception that upset her. Your lack of awareness does suggest you might be the a-hole. Opie replied, we did thank the family publicly and also offered to pay, which they denied, which brought us to the idea of larger thank yous and gifts. When it came to sending cards, I wanted to and asked my friend for the address to send. However, she refused, saying they didn't want a big thanks or anything. I think you're right that I may be looking at the wrong things and should more reflect on how I was at the wedding/wedding activities itself and my behavior with it. Commenter 2 says, are you close with anyone in her family? Is there anyone you could reach out to and express your sincere gratitude, as well as your grief and confusion about why you lost a friendship? Hope replied, Shedley, no. With her family's religious situation, I wasn't always kind of welcome. Her family is kind, but they didn't talk a lot to me because they're part of a religion that I'm not. Commenter 3 says, and yet they went well over, above, and beyond for your wedding, which clearly means they care about you, or at the very least your friend cares enough about you for them to make that effort on her behalf. I think you need to examine this issue beyond just the interactions between you and your friend. Is it possible that someone in the bridal party or in you/your spouse's families were unkind to your friend or her family? Is it possible that someone made small comments about their religion that you ignored or brushed off? Opie replied, out of all proposed, there is a possibility, but nothing I heard directly being said, as I would have shut it down since it's the same religion as my husband's family. He isn't a part of it, though, excommunicated, plus that's not cool. But I can't deny there is a small possibility and something I should have thought of. Plus, I will still say others have commented other responses where I'm the a-hole. So I'm taking that plus this possibility into account. Commenter 4 says, Amy and her family exerted all their effort and resources to pull off this wedding for you, with you, and even rode in her car, dropped you home, and you say, that was that. You didn't even contact her the next day to thank her or even ask her out for lunch as a gesture of appreciation. You don't know what happened that led to this, but you came here with a list of things you've clashed with her, but can't come up with a list of actions you can do if you're genuinely concerned about the fallout. Have you ever thought of hitting the road and visit her personally, or even fly out, if need be, just to show you really care and grateful as you said you were? Based from what I know here, and or the lack thereof, yes, the a-hole. Commenter 5 says, I think this is it. She felt, and her family likely backed her up, unappreciated and taken for granted. Did you thank her and her family publicly during the wedding? Because they deserved a massive call-out and even some sort of fun, special treatment. Did you personally thank everyone who helped you during the reception? None of this would be possible without your help. Should have been said a dozen times to a dozen people. Did you offer any gift or physical thanks for the help? Did you thank the family afterwards? What was the experience at the wedding like for her and her family? Were they treated like any other guests or funneled to the side at all? Were there gifts to other wedding attendees or participants that they did not also receive? Lots of unanswered questions to be sure, but your post reads like someone who doesn't know how to show thanks and appreciation, TBH. Hope you replied, totally understand, and I think this is the main thing I'm picking up on and something I can learn from. So what I had left out because I wasn't thinking about it. All during the wedding, her and her family were given thanks publicly during the wedding, and were also thanked privately before, morning of, and during takedown. I know I'm trying to sound backtracking here, but I literally cannot press enough how much "thank you so much, you have no idea how much that means to us" was said. During setup/takedown, when me or my husband had free time, we did offer to assist as well, because we felt bad that they were doing this for free. That was declined. In terms of thank yous and appreciation, when talking with Amy, she insisted her family would not want any appreciation gift or thank you present stuff. In the 2 months she stopped talking with me, I did ask for at least their address, so I could send something, because not doing so had me feeling like I took advantage of their generosity. She never gave the address. Honestly, I take responsibility in being the ass there, as I should have totally had something for the wedding day itself, and shouldn't have waited until I was home. This isn't to say I'm not the ass still, but I do want to just answer the questions asked. Update. To those who hadn't seen the original post, my best friend helped me plan my wedding, and there were bumps in it regarding the execution of said wedding. She helped me with so much, and so did her family, and 2 months after the wedding, she told me she no longer wanted to be friends. OG post judgment is overall, I am the a-hole. I'll be honest, it didn't feel great, and I ended up reaching out again with more an apology focused on not showing enough gratitude, and that in the end, I should have had more prepped for her and the family. The response was not as expected. Never was about gifts. So it turns out that during the entirety of the planning, I wasn't up to speed enough, nor was my husband, fiancé at the time. The examples I had listed, like the makeup, cups, and others, was actually the piling of straws that eventually broke the friendship camel's back. I didn't list out all examples, but there were other things that occurred like them. I don't want to hide shit, so what came up? We hadn't bought everything necessary, like the cups, plates, etc. in timely manner. Everything was there eventually, like a month out, but exact count wasn't given. RSVPs had not come back in the time we wanted, and seating order wasn't decided until that month out. Honestly, from what I've gotten back, it sounds like things were not as organized as hoped, and that just showed that we were just too different for the friendship to continue. It was too stressful to have an idea of what was needed, and then for that to not happen in that timely manner. Looking back, yeah, planning styles were different, and I can understand how that would absolutely piss someone off. Like one comment mentioned, and I agree, I should have noticed the signs sooner and taken more initiative to either catch up or say that my husband and I could plan this independently. What mattered more was just having her be present as a bridesmaid. I'll take it as a learning lesson and move forward with just being more mindful of the friends I have. Relevant comments. Commenter 1 says, so yeah, you could have done better before the wedding. I'm just curious, but did you thank them officially like during the reception or anything, but by not telling you what the issue is, even after you've done some soul searching and are truly sorry, is petty and childish. What might have been a legit grudge has now devolved into you should know what you did territory and is not worth any more effort on your part. A conversation is a two-way street, and at this point you're apologizing to a wall. If you share a friend group on a shared social media platform, you may want to just go out and make a public apology as a way to CYA in case she starts bad-mouthing you. Also include somewhere that you're not sure what you're apologizing for since she won't tell you. Then wash your hands of her. At this point, she values her grudge against you more than your actual friendship, and why waste more of your life on something like that? Opie replied, just to answer, we did thank her during the wedding and publicly. I agree I could have done more and appreciate your words. We don't have any shared friends, and the other bridesmaids are aware of this happening, but are my friends still. Commenter 2 says, I don't know if you're an asshole, and I read both of your posts. My experience with LDS members is that they're very kind, very generous, and sometimes problematically so. There was no reason for her to volunteer, insist on bearing so many of the wedding expenses. I'll even go so far as to say that it was inappropriate and a violation of financial boundaries that you tried to set but backpedaled on when she insisted. If she felt exploited, well, it's on her for insisting on doing so much and doing it her preferred way. I suspect that she and her family were possibly hoping that you would make a donation to their church as an expression of gratitude, or if someone in their family was preparing for a mission, perhaps contributing to that cost. However, and I emphasize this, you are not a mind reader, and if you're a fly by the seat of your pants and wing it kind of planner, while she's a super organized and anticipatory planner, these individual differences will not work well together. It's a shame that she's holding unspoken resentment against you, because ultimately this was your wedding. There's no crime in buying tableware a month in advance, and same goes for seating arrangements. I suspect that she had unrealistic expectations and huge control issues. She bought your makeup when you didn't want new makeup, and her feelings aren't really about you, but about her. At least now you won't have to worry about kissing her ass, being performatively grateful for the rest of your life. Commenter 3 says, so, just a theory. The ex-friend is apparently LDS. I think that's a significant detail. Mormon girls and women are raised practically from birth to be endlessly giving, self-sacrificing, and also perfectionists in everything they do. They're often quietly expected to do this, well past the point that it's causing them harm. They're to set their own feelings aside and take joy in giving everything they have to everyone else. Ex-friend did as was expected of her by her community and church. She was over-the-top generous, never saying a word of complaint, and insisting that no, this is fine, I am so happy to do this even when Opie checked in on her. All the while, she was probably falling apart inside from the self-imposed perfectionism and stress of it all. This complete break in the friendship probably had a lot more to it under the surface. I really think Opie just became the convenient target for all the anger and resentment and feeling taken for granted that has likely been building up inside ex-friend for years. Anger and resentment that Opie had no way of knowing about because ex-friend has never been allowed, either by her community or herself, to express it. Opie, I really don't think you did anything wrong. I think there's a much bigger problem brewing inside your ex-friend that has almost nothing to do with you, and I don't think there was anything at all you could have done to prevent this rupture. That train left the station long before your wedding planning started. The second story is from Relationships subreddit. It was posted by 40416 and was titled 27 Female with 27 Male of 5 Years. Gave up and said I hypothetically wouldn't marry him anymore only to find he has a ring. He's trying now, but I don't trust it. Resentment galore. My boyfriend and I had a huge and rare fight on Easter, culminating in me telling him I would not marry him as he is, after being together for almost 5 years and living together for most of that time. I was saying that hypothetically, as we've spoken of marriage before, but he eventually revealed he has a family ring in his possession now. I still said that if he were to officially ask, I'd say no right now, because I feel alone in our relationship most of the time, and there's no point in a marriage with no companionship. We mostly don't have companionship because my boyfriend games for at least 35 hours a week, and often more, in addition to a full-time job. I like gaming, but I don't do it because I know I will binge on it. Instead, I go to the gym, read, write, watch movies and TV shows, go on walks, and sometimes go to coffee shops or out with friends. I've asked him to join me in any/all of this in the past, but he yells at gaming friends, over the TV, games even when we are watching something new, doesn't want to go out or tell me he doesn't want to stay anywhere late, and just doesn't feel like doing much of anything else I ask about. I pointed all of this out in our fight, though I've communicated these issues countless times, as well as the fact that I do about 80% of the housework, and that I'm always the one to initiate it and have to nag him, which I hate doing to make him help. I thought saying all this to him in conjunction with the fact that I wouldn't marry him at this point would wake him up. But a few days after our fight, my boyfriend spent a few $100 on unnecessary gaming shit. I didn't even have it in me to argue. I just receded into indifference and rang a few friends about visiting them in other states to get away from my "I'm not cheating on you or hitting you, so I must be a great boyfriend" relationship. I drunk confessed to one of them that I honestly didn't believe we were going to make it anymore, but that I didn't have the heart to end it either. I drank a lot and cried alone and came to the conclusion at one point that since he didn't buy the gaming shit with malice, maybe he's just that fucking clueless. That honestly made me feel a little bit better until he noticed I wasn't humoring him as much. "We can go, but I don't want to stay late." "Okay, it sounds like you don't want to go, so I can go alone. Bye." He started saying things like, "I love you forever." He tried to have sex with me, but I didn't feel like it because he's pretty selfish in the bedroom. And he finally said, "We're okay, right?" And I told him no, but that I had nothing new to say. So he's been texting me more as opposed to hardly replying to mine. He initiated errands that he forgot about for over a month. He's been making dinner despite buying himself a restaurant lunch almost every day, emptying the dishwasher after I wash the dishes and load it, telling me I'm beautiful, offering to do things for me, trying to give me a massage. And yet I find I'm mostly just angry. I'm angry that he ignored me every other time I brought these issues up for almost 5 years. I'm resentful of his countless one-sided orgasms and the number of times I've washed and folded or hung his clothes. The hours logged in World of Warcraft, StarCraft, CSGO, Dota, and the countless other realities that were more important than the one he shared with me, even when I was standing next to him trying to speak to him or just wanted to have a quick meal together. And I'm just so angry that, judging by this brand new and improved version of himself, he knew what he was doing wrong the whole time, and it wasn't until I finally seemed to have given up carrying us that he bothered to hold his own weight. Maybe this is what most hopeless significant others dream of, a hint of change. But one, I don't know that I believe it's a real change. Most of me thinks he's just doing this to placate me. I'd be afraid to marry him and see him revert when he thinks it's all settled. And two, I don't know that holding his own weight is enough anymore. Maybe that's the resentment speaking, but I don't know that spreading ant killer and putting your socks in the laundry basket is enough to make me buy into this relationship again. I don't want to be resentful. I don't want to hurt him or be cruel. But he's acting like a good boyfriend and keeping his head down, I suppose in hopes of making me forget our fight and play along, and it's not enough. But I don't know what enough looks like. My friends recommended that I put together a specific list of what I need to see to think the situation is truly better, but I don't know where to begin or what to expect. I've thought of asking for counseling as a start, but he thinks 24 hours of good behavior means that I shouldn't be upset anymore, so I don't know that he'll agree to go. Do I ask? Do you insist? I want a relationship again, but I really need some help figuring out how. Relevant comments. Roche Coach says, I personally wouldn't give him the time of day. His half-assed efforts of trying now, after you've had a huge fight about it, just seem like it's trying to temporarily appease you. You're not getting any younger here. If he's not the guy you see yourself spending the rest of your life with, you need to start working on moving on sooner rather than later. I mean, I guess you could put a bunch of effort into asking for a list of specific changes, but in my honest opinion, you shouldn't have to do that. It's one thing to ask for some changes here and there, but it's another to ask for groundbreaking, fundamental change, in which he stops being a sloth, in which the both of you magically know how to start communicating, in which he stops blowing his finances on gaming shit that he uses to ignore you with. Hope replied, "The list, I think I feel that way too. He told me he'd change, but that I'd have to show him how. That made me livid. He said he didn't have good examples. I grew up in an abusive household with an alcoholic and a borderline personality, so how is that a valid excuse? His parents are still happily together, though his mother does basically direct their lives. Her saying is, 'Men may make the living, but women make the life.' But I've told and showed him 1,000 times that that's not who I am or want to be. I honestly think my boyfriend could become a great man and partner, but I feel like it's not going to happen as long as I'm around. And that fucking blows." Deleted user says, "So he's been texting me more as opposed to hardly replying to mine. He initiated errands that he forgot about for over a month. He has been making dinner despite buying himself a restaurant lunch almost every day, emptying the dishwasher after I wash the dishes and load it. Telling me I'm beautiful, offering to do things for me, trying to give me a massage. And yet I find I'm mostly just angry. I would be angry, too, because all those actions show is that he has known all along exactly what he needed to change. He just left it until you were literally about to break up with him. He didn't care enough to change for the sake of the relationship, but only when it's going to actually cause a breakup. He sounds selfish and lazy, and I would be totally done with him at this point. I doubt he's even got a ring if you haven't seen it." Hope replied, "I thought the same thing about the ring, because he has referenced an engagement before as what I believe was an emotional manipulation tool. So I looked and I found it. But it broke my heart that I was snooping for a ring not from excitement and a need to see it and a hopeful suspicion, but for a jaded disbelief. I'm a teacher, and I told him that if I asked my students as a class to please make sure they're on task, and 3 of them jump and shove their phones in their bags, then I now know that they know what they were doing was wrong. So if the threat of losing me makes him jump and change all of these things, I now know he knew what he was doing wasn't right. So that's 5 years of mistreating me just because he thought he could get away with it. And that hurts. Update. Well, against all advice and reason, I committed to giving my relationship another go. We attended counseling. The first session was painful but productive. We worked on goals. Our counselor said that my resentment could heal if I could agree to stop questioning whether my boyfriend's efforts were sincere and if I just took it day by day. He agreed to limit his gaming to an hour or 2 a night. As long as he was making genuine effort and we were communicating, our counselor said we could work it all out. Within a week, my boyfriend was back to gaming all day. We were affected by the flooding in Houston, and he was so stressed by all of it he just couldn't do a darn thing but kill people in CS to cope. I booked tickets to the opposite side of the country to see friends. He spent my last weekend in town gaming for 12+ hours per day. My last night in town, he got my birthday wrong and guessed 3 times to get it right. When I got back almost 2 weeks later, he made a big show of not gaming and doting on me with exaggerated charisma. I'd be watching a TV show, and he'd stare at me till I asked why, and he'd say something like, "I'm just mesmerized by your beauty." He pouted when I didn't want to have sex with him and told me he was overwhelmed with sexual frustration since he wasn't gaming anymore, and "It's like I'm seeing you and how sexy you are for the first time in years." I started getting so anxious being badgered about fucking someone who doesn't even know my birthday that I started having to drink heavily to tolerate it. Anyway, I went out of town again, and when I got back this weekend, he made this joke. We have 2 friends who are twin brothers. The slob lives in the neat freak's house and pays rent. He was paying $400 a month just for the room, and the neat freak asked for a mere $100 more to cover the purchase and prep of all food plus all chores, from laundry to cleaning the entire house. Pretty sweet deal, right? My boyfriend thought this was a hilarious imbalance and said, "So slob, neat freak is basically your girlfriend. right? Because a girlfriend is someone who stupidly does everything for someone and is too whipped to ask for much of anything in return, I guess. I didn't even feel like I snapped. It was more like something softly clunked into place. It wasn't even a fight. I'm just done. He has since been texting mutual friends to tell them I kicked him out, and he had no idea this was coming. They've known us for years and see through it, but it's still pretty shitty. I've since found out he also told at least one male friend about my breast augmentation, and I overheard him telling gaming friends how dope it was that I can't get pregnant. Good times. He seems to think that 5 years of bullshit isn't a good enough reason to break up, and is now claiming I'm the love of his life, and he'd never have given up on us. He's supposed to come over today to sort some stuff out with Elise, I guess, but I could use some support reminding me that I've made the right choice. Edit. I had a friend come sit on my couch while my ex came over. My ex came in with really aggressive body language, saw another male was present, and visibly deflated a notch. He was still pretty angry, but he didn't take it out on me as much as I feared. He told me he never said I could have our house, rental, and that if I wanted to leave, then I needed to get out. He originally gave me this speech about how I'm family, and this is all his fault, so I should stay. But now he's saying he never said that, along with a bunch of mean remarks. I know I have as much of a right to be here as him since we're both on the lease, but honestly, it's not worth the fight. Realizing that the person I've loved for 5 years would rather see me have to struggle to find somewhere new to live with our 4 pets, whom he only guilt me about, but didn't even try to work out keeping any, was eye-opening in a terrible way. He said a bunch of spiteful things to me and the person I had with me, slammed the door a lot, and left. Then he started texting me again about how he loves me, and I'm family, and anything I need, I can ask him for the rest of my life. Except a place to live, I guess. I could never forget how he spoke to me when he told me to get out, so that's the closure I needed, though it still hurts. I'm already looking for a new home. Thanks to everyone who commented and messaged me in this post and the previous. I really appreciate the stories and words of encouragement. I'm going to cuddle my pets, drink more coffee, and listen to my Bad Bitch playlist while I search rental home listings.